Hey guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for the Irregular Magic High School, aka Mahoka Koko no Urotose, episode 18. Alright, and it's late, and I'm kind of tired, so this probably should be a quick review. For the sake of getting this review up sooner, I'm just gonna upload my live reaction separately instead of putting it at the end of the video. And yeah, I swear this time I'll actually remember to upload it before the next episode comes out. All right, I didn't end up putting my live reaction for episode 17 up until the next Saturday, so I should, or Sunday even, I don't even remember. But this time I should actually have it out decently soon. Of course, I'd have to put up World Trigger and Hunter x Hunter as well, so. Yeah, but I will end up putting it up, so yeah. Um, but for this episode, it starts off with everyone just celebrating because even though there's still another day left in the night school competition, First High has already clinched the victory, so they're celebrating that. But while they're celebrating, Tatsuya is taking on No Head Dragon, okay? He meets up with Haruka, she gives him data on the members as well as their location, and he ends up leaving with Kyoko Fujibayashi and taking care of business. Alright. Kyoko took care of security and phone stuff, like the phone stuff and radio waves and all that stuff. Sonata might have had a role in that as well. But yeah, Kyoko, you couldn't really tell because they didn't really emphasize it or hint at it at all, really. But Kyoko did actually do something. They just made it look like she didn't, like she was just there to supervise or something like that. But she did do a little bit of something, right? But the guys were just taken care of by Tatsuya using Demon Rite, aka the spell from 3 years ago in Okinawa. So you'll find out about that soon enough. But yeah, Tatsuya uses this magic and when he hits these guys, they just like turn to dust and fire and disappear, pretty much. um, I thought it was going to look different than that because in the light novel, there was actually, every once in a while a light novel will have a picture, an actual image, and they don't usually have many, usually maybe like 10 for the entire for the entire volume. But this was one of the ones that they had for this volume of the light novel. They actually showed Tatsuya using the magic and the people bursting into flames. And when they showed that, as a matter of fact, I can probably find the picture and put it up here somewhere. But yeah, they actually showed people bursting into flames, and it was much more fire than what they showed in the anime. So yeah, it was kind of not underwhelming, but I guess not as much as I would have expected. Not disappointing, but not as good as it could have been, I guess, because they kind of just cut back on the fire. But yeah. Tatsuya uses that magic to take all the dudes out. One dude even shot him in the eye first. And another dude, he made this guy cough up some information about their leader. So this Richard's son, aka Sun Gongming, this guy is definitely going to be relevant in the future. But for now, we're just getting his name dropped here. We also learned about sorcery boosters after this as well. After Tatsuya killed all these dudes, and he brought up the fact that the reason he's doing all this is because they brought out his one remaining emotion, which Kyoko ends up revealing that Tatsuya was built as a weapon, and that he lost all of his emotions except for the ones that were beneficial for protecting Miyuki. So essentially, he can only feel emotion when Miyuki is directly involved. And the emotions he feels are only emotions that could be helpful. So, like, he won't feel jealous. He doesn't feel jealousy or anything like that because that's not helpful in protecting Miyuki. So he'll only feel emotion that's actually helpful in protecting Miyuki and keeping her happy. So, yeah. And if you recall, back when Tatsuya ran into his dad at Four Leaves Technology, and that butler dude, that freaking annoying butler, we saw Mia and Maya for the first time when they were talking about them, and there was like a brief clip of Tatsuya on an operating table. Alright, so they haven't revealed all the details yet, so I don't want to say too much, but it seems pretty clear at this point, putting those two things together, the whole no emotions thing because he was built as a weapon, and the whole operating table thing that this guy was experimented on when he was younger. Because at the time when you saw that brief little 1 second flashback, he was still young, I think. I'm pretty sure. So when he was younger, he was experimented on as a child and built to be a weapon. And based off of what we learned from Kudo Retsu in this episode, you can assume that it was the Yatsuba directly responsible for that. And yeah. Now, as far as just to finish up with the No-Head Dragon stuff, I'm sure that you guys probably figure that these dudes are pretty useless because in reality they didn't really do much. But you'll find out later in another arc, not in the season, but you'll find out in another arc that No-Head Dragon in this 9 schools competition arc did actually serve a purpose in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, you'll find out what that is later. Now, to talk about that conversation that Kudo Retsu had with Major Kazuma, it turns out this dude already knows about Tatsuya, so he's got a pretty impressive information network. But for someone at his level, I think the light novel said he was a former major general. And he's just high up there, right? He's up here, okay? And when normal people not even on the screen, okay? And then some of the higher ups in the 10 Master Clans are up here, but even among them, Kudo Retsu is up here, okay? So this dude's he's got influence. Okay, the dude's got influence, okay? And he's got an information network too, so he knows about Tatsuya. He knows about the Yatsuba and them. He actually mentioned here that he used to be a teacher for both Maya and Mia. Maya and Mia are sisters. Mia is the mother of Tatsuya and Miyuki. Therefore, Maya is their aunt. She is the current head of the Yatsuba family, Yatsuba clan. Just in case you forgot, because it's not like they talk about them that often. Really, they really don't. Those facts aren't really, they might have been brought up once or twice, so it's easy to forget, so I figured I'd just refresh, But Kudo ends up telling Kazuma that because of the way the Yatsuba do things, Tatsuya is just being wasted on them, because they're just going to use him as a bodyguard, because they don't, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this without spoiling. Oh, who cares? I'll just say it this way. They don't really see Tatsuya as one of them because he's not skilled in the way that they would like. Alright, he's pretty much a BS magician, born specialized, just like Haruka. As was mentioned before when was it Miyuki? I think it was Miyuki. She said at some point that, maybe it was Kyoko. Maybe it was Kyoko or someone. Someone said at some point that Tatsuya is really good at specific magics, but because of that and all of the entire area of his brain responsible for calculating magic sequences and stuff like that. Like, I don't really know how to phrase that, but the entire area in his brain that's used for magic is devoted to those few magics that he's good at. Therefore, he ends up not having enough space to be good at other basic things. Therefore, I would consider him a BS magician, you know, born specialized, since he has like an area or two that he excels in, and he's better than anyone in, but everything else he just sucks. So I would consider him a BS magician, and that's just not good enough for the Yatsuba. So they don't really take advantage of him, and they keep him as a secret pretty much. They don't want anybody knowing about this dude. All right. And Kudo's trying to say, you know, screw that. Have him just put him out there just like Ichijo Misaki, and he can be a valuable asset to the country, to the military, you know. And Cosmo says, well, I mean, he's already an invaluable asset. He's much better than Ichijo Misaki, all right, much more firepower and stuff. So, you know, just wait until Yokohama, all right. Just wait until Yokohama. Right, because that's when you'll see what this dude can really do. That's when he literally I won't say he goes all out, but I'll say he stops holding back. How about that? How about I put it that way? What else? Kazuma pretty much admits that the dude is strategic class. So as far as strategic class magicians go, you don't really know where they are in the food chain in terms of like overall power, because you know you've got the numbers, you've got the 100 families, you've got the 10 master clans, you've got those. There are families that are they have a group of families called the 28 families, which you haven't heard about yet, but I'll just tell you about them now because why not? It's really not that big of a deal at all. But the way the system works is that the 10 master clans are not the same all the time. There's a specific time where they choose who will be a part of the 10 master clans for that period of time, and the families that are chosen to be the 10 master clans are picked from these 28 clans. Okay, so it's not like a lottery, but whatever. It's not a big deal. The point is that there's another group. Don't worry about it. Just know that there's another group called the 28 families. That's all you really need to know. So in terms of like power, you don't really know where the strategic class magicians fit in the grand scheme of things, but sooner or later you'll find out. And while we're talking about the 10 master clans, might as well talk about Katsuto Jumonji, because this dude completely dominated Monolith Code by himself. Alright, because 10 master clans did not like the fact that some no-name kid beat Ichijo Misaki, the scion of the Ichijo family, the next head of one of the 10 master clans. Alright, they did not like the fact that he lost to some no-name kid, and in this world, the 10 master clans need to be up top at all times. They need to be powerful, they need to be strong in every situation. Therefore, to prevent people from thinking that the 10 master clans are getting weaker, they told Jumonji to go out there and dominate and show the true power of the 10 master clans. Alright, so that's the story with Jumonji right there. And I talked a little bit about this in my live reaction, because I remembered how certain parts of it were done in the light novel, so I talked about it there, so I won't bring it up here and then just have it be repetitive. But yeah, during the whole thing with during the finals, Tatsuya was watching, but during like the semifinals or quarterfinals, qualifiers, whatever you want to call them, Tatsuya was talking with Kyoko, Yanagi, Sanada, and Kazuma. Alright, and that's when they brought up the sorcery boosters, okay? And these things are they're magic amplifying devices that use a magician's brain in order to power themselves pretty much. I forgot what part it was. It was either the cerebrum or the cerebellum. I don't remember which one, but it's one of those two. It's a magician's brain, alright? So that's not good. That's not good at all, okay? So at some point, those are going to get introduced into the story as well. In my live reaction, you'll see this is something I just did not remember at all. So I was actually scared for a second that it was filler or that it was just like anime original stuff, and that they were going into territory that literally no anime fan wants to be forced to go into. All right. But it turns out it wasn't. They were still staying faithful to the light novel, so that was good. It was a little bit of a scare for a second, but we're all good. All right. Yeah, and the rest of this episode was just a ball, really. Everyone dancing and stuff. Misaki apparently didn't know that Tatsuya and Miyuki were brother and sister. How he didn't know, I'll never know, because maybe he confused them for a couple. No, he couldn't have confused them for a couple, or else he wouldn't have been crushing on Miyuki so hard and just like staring at her from across the freaking room. All right, no, never mind. I don't know how he didn't know. I don't know how he didn't know. Okay, but Miyuki ends up dancing with him, but she doesn't really care about him at all, because the entire time she's dancing with him, she's paying attention to Tatsuya. Because he's dancing with literally anybody who goes up to him. I think I might have even saw Panda Man in there at one point dancing with the guy. All right, like seriously, I saw like Panda Man, Waldo. Okay, I saw a bunch of people dancing with Tatsuya in this episode. All right, and of course at the end of the episode, Miyuki had to get hers. You know, she had to dance with him at the end. Fountain coming up, you know, typical Wincest, you know. They had to make that look good. All right. But the only other thing to talk about with this episode is Jumonji walking up to Tatsuya to talk with him. And this was funny because someone in Crunchyroll, because at the time he had just gotten done dancing with Honoka and Shizuku and Amy and even Mayumi. Okay. And they cut some stuff out here. Obviously, I mean, they always do this. There were some scenes here with dialogue between Tatsuya and Mari, and just like they just the stuff they usually do, cut out extra dialogue and stuff like that, you know. But this was right after that scene where Tatsuya was dancing with all those four, and I think it was four, right? Yeah. And right after that, Jumonji comes up, and someone in the Crunchyroll comments said, for a second there, I thought Jumonji was going to ask him to dance next. so when I saw that made me laugh, because that's totally understandable. But he ends up asking Tatsuya to go outside, and he asks him just straight up, are you a member of the 10 Master Clans? And he denies it, obviously, because he has to. And Jumonji says, okay, well, if you're not a part of the 10 Master Clans, then you should marry in. Because you don't realize how big of an impact it has that, you know, you just beat Ichijo Misaki. Like, that's huge. Like, you need to be a member of the 10 Master Clans, alright? And he suggests that he marry into the Saikusa family by marrying Mayumi. What they didn't do is show you the extra stuff that came after that, because Katsuto did not stop there. Tatsuya was like, whoa, wait a second, calm down. And he's like, what, is Saikusa too old for you? Well, she does have 2 younger sisters. How about you marry one of those 2? So that was funny. That was funny. He brought Kazumi and Izumi into the mix. He told Tatsuya, well, you marry one of them. Right, so that was funny. Unfortunately, they didn't put that in the anime because they figured, you know, why give Jumonji 8 extra seconds when we can give Tatsuya and Miyuki dancing 8 extra seconds? So, hey, but that's it. The thing to take out of this is that Jumonji and Mayumi, they're like legit suspicious of Tatsuya now, alright? Because he just straight up asked him, are you a member of the 10 Master Clans? Alright, they've never gone that far before in terms of their suspicion as to why he's so good. You know, they've never gone that far before, so clearly they're getting more and more suspicious as time goes on. So it'll be interesting to see how they react in the future. So, yeah. And that's that, you guys. As for this episode, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10, which is mostly because of the demon right stuff and taking those dudes out. But I can't really say, wow, this episode was so good, because in the end, it kind of just ended with dancing and, just having a good time, enjoying, people enjoying themselves and talk, so, excuse me. I'll just give it 7.5 out of 10, and that's that, you guys. Like I said in the beginning, oh, Jesus Christ, how late is it? My goodness. As you can tell, I'm, really tired. I just, don't have much energy. But like I mentioned in the beginning of the review, I'm going to upload my live reaction separately just so that this review will go online faster. So, yeah, that's that, you guys. The episode gets a 7.5 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.